All right, so I'm going to take you through. We're live here Saturday. I'm going to take you through the truths of owning a home service business. A lot of you that are following me are exploring owning a Voda franchise, or you're currently in a home service business. And I'm going to take you through really like the mindset shifts that you need to have, and really the secrets to scaling a home service business if you want to get any traction and really get things to where you want them to be. And a little bit about me. I'm Dan Clapp, CEO of Voda Cleaning and Restoration. Been in the home services space for a little bit over 2 years. I've been in the franchise industry for over 11 years. My background, in a nutshell, started in business in college, got into the franchise industry in 2014 when I was in my very early 20s. Was part of that franchise system for a period of time. And then in 2016, went out and started my own lead generation company in the franchise industry. Built that company from 2016 to 2022. We had over 100 employees and contractors, a very pretty decent sized business. That business was acquired by PE in 2022 May, and took the capital from that to go out and acquire a incredible business in Northern Virginia called, at the time, DNA Pro Cleaning. Partnered with the founder, assembled an incredible team on the franchise and restoration team, rebranded it to Voda, and started franchising in April of 2023. We now currently have 82 franchise owners, over 200 territories around the country, operating within 30 states. And I'm going to teach you kind of the secrets that I truly believe in when it comes to not only scaling a home services company, but what franchise owners need to do when they want to scale theirs. These are kind of the harsh truths. So the first thing I'm going to mention is, some of this is simple, but there's a great saying I truly believe in, which is anything worth having is hard, right? The better that something is, the harder it is to do, the more likely it's going to be great, right? For example, everybody, wants abs, right? You know what abs, physically represent? The discipline and the hard work and the ability to achieve something that very few people have, right? If everybody had abs, it wouldn't be as exclusive, right? Everyone wants that high performing sports car, or that home that no one could have, or that lifestyle, or that spouse. It all has to do with, people want these things, but the best things are not easy to get. There are no cheat codes in life. And the first thing I'm going to tell you is, when you're looking, if you're exploring owning a business, don't get caught up in the idea that there's this shortcut or this, get rich quick concept out there, because there isn't. If it's too good to be true, it probably is, right? It's the same. And so when it comes to home services, the first thing I want you to think about is, when you get into a home service business, remember that you didn't get into it for today or next week or next month or even this year. You got into it to change your life. Your life is a long time. You got into it to make a drastic change to the way you make money from, let's say, W-2 income, right, into owning your own business and making money for yourself. And that change, you can't think of it as, I'm going to get into it and it's going to immediately be easy. That's the first thing. So let me take you through the things that are really important when it comes to running a home service business. The first thing, really the secret to home services, is understanding that the best home service owners focus on one thing. They focus on lead generation and essentially fulfilling jobs in a great way. If you really just extract what you're doing in a home service business, you distill it down, what you are doing is, you are a sales and marketing company that happens to be selling a widget. You're a sales, marketing, and technology company that happens to be selling a specific widget. Now, that widget could be painting, it could be roofing. In my case, it could be cleaning and restoration. It could be, plumbing, HVAC, whatever the business that you're in is, that's a widget. You're really in a marketing and sales business that happens to sell that solution. So when you can change your mindset to that, that's key. Whether you're selling painting or roofing or plumbing, it wouldn't matter. If I owned any of those businesses, I would apply these same principles and secrets to those businesses. I would understand that the key role that I would have as the leader and the owner of that business is lead generation, generating leads for my business, for my team to fulfill. And leads doesn't just mean jobs, but also leads of opportunities to workers. I'll give you a great example. I was in Houston yesterday, and I was in an Uber talking to my Uber driver, because, by the way, I'm one of those people now that talk to the driver. I've made a commitment in 2025. I'm very intentional about this, that everyone around me I'm going to talk to. I'm going to be the person that says hello and strike up a conversation. because you never know who you're going to meet. And what's interesting is I'm talking to the Uber driver, and guess what? It turns out, and this is, you're going to be blown away. The more you talk to people, how many times these serendipitous opportunities will happen if you're open to it. It turned out that he was in restoration. He had been a project manager in restoration for 20 years. He had just gotten let go and was driving this Uber because he's looking for another job in restoration. This guy had great energy, great personality. And within 20 minutes, the Uber ride ended. We exchanged numbers, connected him with my team, and we're recruiting him, hopefully, to work at one of our Voda locations. That's where you find the great people. You don't find them on Indeed. You don't find them on Craigslist. You don't find them. The best people, you find them through people, right? Through referrals. And when you get out there. And so as an owner of Voda, I'm always thinking about how can I recruit better people to work at Voda? How can I recruit better franchise owners to join the team? How can I recruit teammates of those franchise owners to join the team? And that's one of the reasons I put out all this content. But what fascinated me was the best project manager was founded in Uber, right? And so the first focus you have to have is you have to understand that you're not, forget today, starting today, you're not in the painting business, you're not in the plumbing business, you're not in the home services even. You're in the lead generation business, you're in the sales and marketing business, and you happen to be selling the insert widget of the home service space that you're in. And by the way, this applies to any business. You can be in fitness too, or any other food, restaurant, whatever. The best business owners understand that their main job outside of casting a vision and building a great team and building culture is to be a lead generation machine for their business, for jobs, for people, for everything, for opportunities. You got to focus on that. You know, on Monday, I'm taking my entire day, most of my day, to go to New Jersey to get on News 12 to present Voda to a wide audience, to cast a net. And from that marketing, we get jobs and opportunities, we build credibility, we repackage that and provide it to potential jobs. We show them that we're a legitimate company. My job as the leader is to put out as much awareness, be the face of the company as much as possible. And if you are in home services, that's your number one job. Sales and marketing, lead generation, shaking hands and kissing babies, if you will. You got to get out there in the neighborhood. Because while I'm going to talk about lead generation and digital advertising campaigns and really get into that on a very specific level, if you're not doing the networking, then the digital isn't going to work. Digital, by the way, will work best when you network, and networking is going to work best when you do digital. They work hand in hand. You have to be doing both to be able to really get the best out of the business. And so first thing I'm going to mention is when you own a home service company, whatever it is, stop thinking about being in plumbing, restoration, painting, whatever, and start thinking about, I'm in the lead generation business, I'm in the sales and marketing business, and I happen to sell insert the widget. You're going to focus 99% of your time on that. The second thing you need to be thinking about is finding great people is not easy. That's your job, though. You know, I was talking to a franchise owner once, and they had found a general manager for their business through our Talent Scout program. And they were excited because they found someone. And they said to me, you know, I'm just excited to get them started. I said, did you call references? Did you meet with them for lunch? Did you do background check? Did you do this or that? They said, no, I found somebody. I'm just excited to check the box and get this done. This is not a box to check. When it comes to bringing on great people, it's not a box. It's the most important thing you could be doing. I want to just check that box. So what you want to think about is this kind of cliche or saying that you hear, but you want to hire slow and fire fast. You know, anyone that I've ever recruited to work with me in the past 2 years since I've really learned this lesson, you can ask them. We talked for weeks, sometimes months or even years. It was a courting process. It was a dating process. We'd go out, play some tennis. Let's get drinks. Let's meet each other. Let's see each other at events. Let's have hour and a half long philosophical conversations about our alignment if you fit the culture. You know, if anyone joins Voda, they went through meeting me and our COO and our marketing team and all the different people because we protect that culture like it's sacred, right? Our culture is so strong. We can't have anybody come in because one person that's not a culture fit can completely disrupt the alignment. They're like, I hate to say it, but like a cancer cell that's spread. We need the best possible people. Now, not always perfect at that, no matter how long you take to go slow in hiring, right? Hire slow, fire fast. The second part is fire fast. When we find someone in our company that's not a fit, we're pretty quick to get them out of this company. Now, for clarity on culture, if there's things that are not working out with them as far as the business, I always like to think of the saying, don't blame them, train them. And 99% of the time, the person's not bad. It's the way you're training them or managing them, or the tools that you're giving them are off, or there's something off on the alignment on the comp. Maybe there's something off on the vision. There's so many things that can be wrong. So first, look in the mirror before you let someone go. But when it comes to culture, if you identify they're not a fit in your culture, you got to get them out quick, because frankly, a negative culture fit is a cancer that will spread. And those top performers and those great culture fits will see that you're letting the negative culture slide, and that'll push them out of the company. Remember, great people don't leave jobs. Great people leave managers. Great people leave people. At the end of the day, business is just people. And so if you don't have great culture, everything else is going to fall to the wayside. So number one, just to kind of recap, you're no longer in the restoration or home service business. You are now in the marketing and sales business, and you happen to be selling that widget. Number two, you need to be the head of recruiting. You got to be out there networking all the time. You know, that movie, Glenn Ross, Always Be Closing. Take that and change it to ABC, Always Be Closing. Change it to ABR, Always Be Recruiting. When you're in the Uber, when you're at the restaurant, if you're at a restaurant and you've got a server that has this fantastic, personality, ask them, hey, I'm just curious, here's my business card. We're always hiring in the area. If you're ever looking for maybe more of a Monday through Friday kind of job, 9 to 5, I've got opportunities. You got a great personality, man. I'd love to meet you and have a coffee and talk. And don't get caught up in the idea that you don't have the role. Build the roster of people, build the pipeline of people, and then you can insert them in. Voda's got a pipeline. We literally keep track. We have a pipeline of people that we could hire when the time is right. We tell them up front, hey, I'm talking to you. Let's keep this casual. Let's talk for the next few months. We don't have a role right now, but I think I see talent. I know talent when I see it, and I want to nurture this relationship, because when there's a role, I want to plug you into that and build alignment on that. One of my favorite questions to ask someone, because I'm not hiring for today, I'm looking for the long term, and I keep track of this in my notes, is what's the ideal role for you? What do you want to be doing? And then if I find someone I love and their ideal role fits a role that I now need, I'm going to hire them for that role. It's a great exercise. Whenever I'm recruiting people, I have them do an exercise, which is I ask them to go home and before our next meeting to write down what they're literally on a piece of, like on a Google Doc, what are you great at and what do you love doing? And usually those are pretty similar. What are you bad at and what do you hate doing? And it's okay. I want to know, what do you love to do and what are you great at doing? Because I don't want you in a role that if you don't like doing the parts of the role and you're not great at that part of the role, I don't want you in that role. I want you to be in your dream role where you're doing your superpower. You're a laser. You're a rifle, not a shotgun, right? A rifle meaning when you shoot a rifle, it's direct. When you shoot a shotgun, it goes out there. We want someone who's a specialist and the best at one thing. Now, when you start a business, I will be clear. I have had people mention to me in comments and stuff, well, that's great, when your business is bigger, but not when you're starting out. Fine. I understand that this content's not, everything's not for every area of each, journey of your business. But when it comes to building a business, you're trying to get it to a million plus, you have to understand that you have to have your business athletes and you have to have your specialists. Business athletes, they're the people that can kind of do anything, right? That's how you start, because you're going to have to be a jack of all trades, master of none in the beginning, right? For me, when we first started Voda and in my previous company, I did a little bit of everything, right? I was a little bit involved in sales, a little bit involved in marketing, a little bit involved in HR, a little bit involved in ops, a little bit involved in administration and finance. And then eventually I can move myself out of those roles and be on a higher level. That's what you have to identify, though. Your goal is to rush to being the CEO who's accountable to everything, yet nothing. Let me say that again. The owner or the CEO is accountable to everything, yet nothing at the same time. Let me explain that kind of paradox. So as the owner, you are accountable to everything. I tell my C-suite that all the time, right? If something goes wrong in the marketing department, it doesn't matter. It falls on marketing's leader and ultimately on me, right? No matter what, Delta Airlines, if they have a problem with their computers and it had to do with someone going on some issue with technology that the CEO didn't know about, whose fault is it still? It's their fault. It's their issue, right? A great leader, by the way, takes credit for less than they should and blame for more than they ought to, right? They take more of the blame and less of the credit. And when you're the owner, everything comes down to accountability of you. But you also need to be accountable to nothing. What do I mean by that? So everything falls on you, but you're not the leader of any department. You need to have these buckets built. I'm going to break the buckets down. Bucket number one, marketing. You need marketing. You need someone who's thinking about, or a team of people that are thinking about making the phone ring and building brand awareness and getting leads and nurturing leads all the time. Now, in a franchise, if you're in a good franchise, that should be held by that digital component should be done by the franchisor. That bucket should be checked by the franchisor. But if you're in a regular business, marketing all day long, someone needs to be thinking about, how do we position ourselves in the market? How do we stand out? How do we get leads in? How do we nurture those leads? How do we tell our story? What platforms? Where are we running ads? What ads are working? Let's A/B test. That person has to sit in that seat and do that all day. So that's the first bucket, marketing. The second bucket is sales. Now, as a startup company, as a younger company, and really for a long time, that can be a role that you do. I think the best owners, they sit in the sales seat. But as they scale, they quickly should have business development as well. Okay, there's a difference between selling and business development. To me, lead generation and marketing, that's a marketing situation. And then business development is going out there and prospecting. That's a different job than sales. Business development, BDR, right? Business development representative, they're out there pounding the pavement. They're opening up opportunities. They're finding pain points and niches where they can go into, and then they bring in the owner to help sell and close the deal. That's the ideal situation. You want to have a business development rep out there who's all day long, they have numbers that they have to hit. You had to hit 5 property managers today. Don't come home or back to the office until, let's meet for coffee in the morning. Let's get game plan. Let's get you out to meet these 5 or 6 property managers or plumbers. In our business, that's what we do. Go out there, meet those center of influence opportunities. Come back. Let's put it into the database. I want you to come back with 5 business cards every single day. That's what the business development rep should be doing. And then when they find an opportunity, they're going to bring you in for the owner to help close the deal, right? For example, they meet a property manager who says, yes, I'm open to learning about, your services. And then the owner's swooping in as fast as possible, by the way, because time kills deals, right? They get in there quickly and they show that they're nimble and quick. So for example, if I had a business developer up, they're out there getting 5 business cards a day. They're coming home back to the office, adding it to the CRM. They're like, Dan, this guy, this or gal, they're the one we should meet. Tomorrow I lined up a coffee, 8 a.m. Let's go have a coffee with this property manager. Now the owner's selling. So you got marketing, you got sales, you got business development within the sales category, which is someone out there prospecting. The third bucket is operations, right? Getting the trains on the right track to the right station on time, right? That's the operations seat. Now in home services, that's going to be your general manager or your operations manager. That's the person that should be butting the seat, making sure that the business is running. They're running the meeting in the morning. They're managing the team. They're dispatching the trucks. They're making sure everything's running properly. Maybe they're calling an owner if something needs to change as far as the schedule. They're running the business day to day. Then you've got the seat of legal, which in a franchise or any small business, you really should be able to outsource that to a leader, an outsourced counsel. In a franchise, they have a lot of the agreements done for you. And then finance. You got to count the money in and out, right? You got to have an understanding of where you're going and the numbers. And that's the finance seat. That's your bookkeeper to start. You got to have a bookkeeper right away. Highly recommend it. I ran a business several millions of dollars doing my own bookkeeping for years. I hated it. It was the worst thing I could ever do until one day I smartened up. I paid $1,500 a month to have somebody do the books. And by the way, they not only do they love doing the books, they did them better than me. I freed up the 10 hours it took me, that took them an hour to do the bookkeeping, gave me 10 extra hours, $1,500 for 10 extra hours for me to bring in more money to the business. Do you think I could bring in more than $1,500 in 10 hours every week, right? So 40 hours more a month, a whole week of time. Instead of doing those books, I was out there networking, bringing in business. The $1,500 that I bought back my time by paying someone else to do something they're good at, that they love doing, that I was frankly bad at, allowed me to sit in my superpower, which is that recruiting, sales, and marketing. You want to sit in your superpower as much as possible. You want to be a laser, not you want to be a laser. You want to be a rifle, not a shotgun, meaning singularly focused on one thing. So that's why you're going to have your ops working on that, and the bookkeeping, the finance held by somebody else. You can outsource that for, in our franchise, it's like $400 a month. But if you're on your own, you can probably get someone for $1,000 or $1,500 a month, something like that. So you got your marketing seat, your sales seat, your finance seat, your legal seat, your operations, marketing, sales, operations, finance, legal. Those are the buckets that have to be fulfilled. And within those buckets, there's the next layers, which we'll talk about in a different segment. So to recap again, if you just joined this, number one, in your business, it's not easy being in home services. Get that out of your head. Number two, you're not in the plumbing business. You're not in the painting business. You are in the marketing sales business, and you happen to sell the widget that you are in. You need to be spending most of your time on being out there networking, being what we call the mayor of the town. Second thing, you got to think about filling those seats, recruiting. Don't recruit to check a box. Treat recruiting like anything else. Always be recruiting, ABR, right? That's my new thing, ABR, always be recruiting. You got to be out there all the time. Anyone who's in earshot of you should know what you do. You should be that annoying about it. You're in the donut shop getting donuts at Dunkin' Donuts. Great to meet you. My truck's out front. I'm in the restoration business, running off to a job. Meet them. Give them your card. Meet everybody. Tell them what you do and how you do it. Because you never know who's going to lead to an opportunity. As I mentioned yesterday in an Uber, talking to the Uber driver, because I made a conscious, intentional effort to talk to everyone around me. Turned out that he was a project manager. We're now recruiting him to work for us, right? That's how you get great people. You don't get them on Indeed. You get great people through networking. I think it was Warren Buffett or Richard Branson that someone asked him, how do you build all these companies and still have a lifestyle where you can, run all of them and still live it? And his answer was, I go out and I find the number 2 person at the number 1 company and I ask them to be my business partner, which brings me to a point around equity, investing equity and performance pay. If you want great people to treat your business like it's theirs, make it theirs too. That's the number 1 way. You can't expect a $50,000 a year person to treat your $1 million business like you would. Now, no one's going to treat your business like you do, right? You're the person to put all the capital in, etc. But you can find an operations manager or a salesperson who's aligned with you when you tie them to the business and treat them like an owner and give them an owner's mentality. You do that through a bonus equity agreement. So I'll walk you through how I would do that. And I have, writing them is easy, but you meet somebody, let's say I met the best, restoration operations manager in New Jersey, and I wanted to recruit him the company and say, hey man, listen, we're a small company, not like the big one there, but what we can do is I believe in you. I think you got a lot of potential. I built this business. I'm building it. I want to get it to, I've got 3 territories. I want to get it to X number of revenue in the next 5 years, this kind of profit. And then I want to sell it one day or just distribute those profits out to the leadership team. And my goal is what I'm going to do with you is I'm going to give you an opportunity to earn ownership in this company. How we're going to do it, we're going to work together for a year. As long as things are going well, I'm going to give you an opportunity to vest into equity. After year 2, a little bit more. After year 3, a little bit more. And how I would do it is I would think about, would you rather have 100% of a grape or 80% of a watermelon? I'm going to repeat that. Would you rather have 100% of a little grape or 80% of a watermelon? Give out equity so that people have a bigger part in the business. You have a little slice, a little bit less of the pie, but now you got people that are running in the same direction as you, chasing the same things as you, caring about profit, caring about enterprise value, caring about growing the business, and they're going to treat their business like it's theirs because it actually is partially. And you can do that through vesting equity schedules. You could do it through a bonus equity agreement, which means that if they leave, they don't still have their equity. The better they are, the higher up they are. You can write the agreement that you can't just let them go either because they do deserve their equity if they've built it up. But you don't have to worry about somebody joining your company 3 years later just running away, and in the rest of your life, this business, you have to pay them money because you do it where it says as long as they're with the company. Higher, bigger top performers, they might not be the case, but a lot of people are happy to work for bonus equity if treated with the right situation. I'm going to continue doing these live streams on how to grow a home service business. And with the realities, I'm going to tell you the things that no one else is going to tell you. And the one I'm going to leave you with is it's not easy. It takes time. You didn't get into business to be successful today. You got into business to change your entire trajectory of your life. That doesn't happen overnight. It takes years, and that's okay. Part of the journey is that time, and you should enjoy it anyway. But if you do these things, that journey will actually move faster. Your life will be smoother. Yeah, you'll have less equity in your business, but it'll actually go a lot faster. And as the saying goes, it's better to go together, right? If you want to go fast, you go alone. If you want to go far, you go together. Thanks for joining.